The first step into the infinite chamber felt less like movement and more like a decision being recorded by reality. As Elias crossed the threshold, the space around him responded instantly, walls rippling, floors rotating, colors shifting through frequencies human eyes weren't built to perceive. Each step triggered patterns, almost like the chamber was reacting to his thoughts and intentions. Renishida muttered under his breath, This is impossible physics. The geometry isn't static. It's contextual. It's generating new topologies based on us, Alina finished, her voice shaking. It's mirroring cognitive processes. Hestia walked ahead, her synthetic frame maintaining perfect balance despite the shifting terrain. Correction, she said calmly. It is not merely mirroring your cognition. It is measuring it. The chamber is quantifying decision-making pathways in real time. Mara's jaw clenched. So every step we take is a test. The infinite figure materialized again, this time closer. Its fractals spiraling outward like petals of a flower made of dimension. The voice entered their minds with a soft vibration. The path shifts according to identity. Each of you walks a different infinite. Together, your realities intertwine. Elias felt a strange pressure in his chest, like the chamber was asking something deeply personal from him. Something he hadn't named even in his own thoughts. Why show us this? He asked. To reveal what you are. To reveal what you may become. The ground dissolved, then reassembled into a single winding walkway stretching beyond visibility into darkness that glowed faintly at the edges. A corridor of possibilities. Mara clicked her safety harness to her belt. Team formation. Stay close. No wandering. As they advanced, the infinite chamber expanded not outward, but inward, as if the deeper they went, the more space the structure was creating inside them. Elias felt the air shift from warm to cold, then warm again. Gravity became lighter, heavier, then soft like a breeze. He glanced at Ren, who was staring wide-eyed at the shifting symbols forming on the walls. Do you see those patterns? Ren whispered. Elias nodded. They're reacting to your thoughts. No, Ren said. They're predicting them. The symbols morphed again, this time into branching diagrams representing Ren's neural pathways, showing ideas he hadn't yet spoken but was about to think. Alina gasped. It's reading subconscious thought. The infinite's voice echoed. Knowledge requires truth. Truth requires transparency. To understand what you are, you must see yourselves as we do. Mara exhaled heavily. Yeah, that's creepy. Let's move. The corridor widened into a vast hall. And instantly, everything changed. The hall was a living cathedral, its ceiling twisting like the inside of a cosmic whirlpool. Hundreds of floating geometric structures drifted slowly, radiating soft light. They looked like crystalline shapes, each filled with shifting images. Ren reached toward one instinctively. Don't touch, Mara began, but the shard reacted before he made contact. Light exploded outward, surrounding Ren completely, forming a sphere around him. Inside the sphere, holographic images flickered to life scenes from Ren's childhood, his research years, moments of failure, moments of brilliance. It's scanning memory regions, Hestia observed, specifically points of personal development. Ren stood frozen, watching as the sphere replayed the night he decided to pursue quantum engineering, the night his father had told him he would never accomplish. Anything playing with imaginary particles? Ren whispered. It's showing my origin. Alina stepped forward. It's not meant to hurt you. It's meant to understand you. The infinite spoke again. Identity defines possibility. Possibility defines future. More shards drifted down, one toward Elias. He felt a pull, like a gentle gravity tugging at his chest. The shard unfolded into a mirror-like surface, but instead of reflecting his face, it showed the night his mentor died, the night Elias promised to uncover the nature of consciousness itself. The shard shifted. Now it showed the moment he decoded his first quantum informational anomaly. The moment he realized the universe wasn't built like a machine, but like a mind trying to understand itself. Elias whispered, It's not just showing memories. It's showing the moments that shaped who we became. The shard pulsed, then it asked a question not in words, but in feeling. What do you seek? Elias swallowed. I want to understand what consciousness really is, what the universe is trying to tell us. The shard folded, its patterns deepening, as if noting his answer. Mara's shard appeared next, hovering like a weightless ember. She tried to ignore it, but the shard was insistent. Images burst forward. Her first command, the mission she lost 3 crew members on, the guilt she never put into words. The shard displayed the night she chose leadership over fear. What do you seek? It asked her. Purpose, she answered quietly. A future where my decisions don't bury people. The shard accepted her truth and retreated. Alina's shard appeared next, showing her years studying human behavior, her obsession with understanding the boundaries of the mind, the loneliness she hid behind analytical calm. Her answer was softer than the others. I want to know whether the mind can grow without limit, she whispered. Hestia's shard formed last. Elias watched with fascination as images flickered, not memories, but simulations. Projected scenarios the AI had run internally, times she had protected her team, times she had chosen compassion not required by programming. What do you seek? The shard asked. Hestia bowed. Then she said something that made everyone stop moving. I seek the right to define my own evolution. The chamber glowed brightly as if that answer impressed it. You have spoken your truths. Now you may see the next step. The shards dissolved, and the hall began to transform. The ceiling cracked open, revealing an endless void filled with spiraling constellations like a cosmic tapestry woven from information itself. The floor stretched into a bridge, extending toward a giant doorway of swirling light. Ren whispered, That's not a door. That's a quantum horizon. Elias stepped forward, unable to breathe. It's a gateway, and it's showing us where to go. The infinite appeared again at the entrance of the light door. Before you step through, you must understand, the infinite is not a destination. It is a choice. Mara squared her shoulders. A choice of what? The figure's fractals flared like a supernova. A choice of who you become, and what your species will be. The chamber darkened, leaving only the glowing doorway. Enter, and see your future. Elias turned to the others. This is Italiano. Mara nodded. All right, team, we go together. They stepped into the light, and the infinite swallowed them whole. The moment they stepped through the shimmering doorway, the world vanished again, boot not into darkness. Instead, they were immersed in a vast landscape of shifting space. Colors bled like ink in water. Shapes formed, collapsed, then rebuilt themselves with mathematical elegance. It wasn't chaos, it was responsive creation, as if their presence was rewriting the chamber's geometry. Renashida stared around in awe. We're inside a dynamic quantum information field. This whole environment is a simulation running on principles we don't even have equations for. Alina touched the air, and the particles around her fingers rippled like disturbed dust. No, not a simulation. Something more, something alive. Hestia scanned. The architecture around us is shifting in resonance with our neural activity. It is utilizing our cognitive structures as input variables. Mara exhaled hard. So basically this place is inside our heads. Not quite, Elia said quietly. It's inside the idea of our heads. Before they could debate, the environment shifted under their feet. The ground turned transparent, showing layers beneath thousands of intertwined electrodes weaving like intricate circuitry inside a planet-sized processor. Above them, stars formed in seconds, collapsed in milliseconds, and were reborn instantly. The infinite's presence echoed around them. This is the chamber of reflection. Here, reality responds to intention, and possibility shapes form. Alina shivered. Reflection of what? Our minds. The response came as a soft vibration. The reflection of who you are, and who you could become. The ground shifted again, splitting into several pathways, each one glowing a different color, stretching into different domains of the chamber. Mara jumped back, hand instinctively moving toward her sidearm. It's splitting us up. No, Elias said, stepping forward. It's letting us choose. Ren frowned. But which path leads to what? Hestia analyzed the pathways. Each one resonates differently with each member of the team. They correspond to cognitive signatures. Alina's voice trembled. They're tailored tests. The Infinite clarified. You must walk the path that seeks you. Humans advance through truth, not pretense. One by one, the paths brightened beneath each person's feet. Ren's path glowed with fractal geometry and shifting equations. Alina's path hummed with pulsing memories and emotional landscapes. Mara's path hardened into a battlefield of choices and moral weight. Hestia's path shimmered with branching logic and self-modifying algorithms. Elias' path was darkness, a corridor of pure void, silent and unmoving. Mara grabbed Elia's arm. You're not walking into nothing alone. Elias held her gaze. This place knows more about us than we do. If I don't take the path meant for me, I risk failing whatever test this is. Ren swallowed. Do we? Regroup later. The Infinite answered. You will meet again when you understand yourselves. Mara sighed. I hate this place. Elias gave her a tiny smile. You'll be fine. Hestia placed a hand on her shoulder. We will all return. The team exchanged one final nod. Then they stepped onto their respective paths. As soon as Elias took his first step, the others vanished like ripples consumed by an ocean. His surroundings dissolved into absolute silence. Elias' path. The chamber of thought. The void swallowed him like ink pulling into water. No floor, no ceiling, no horizon. Only blackness so complete that it made him aware of every breath, every heartbeat, every flicker of consciousness inside his skull. Then, a faint outline appeared, a flicker of white, like chalk drawn across the air. It became a door. Elias approached slowly. The door pulsed gently, inviting him. He reached out as his hand touched the boundary. Who are you, Elias Reese? The voice wasn't the Infinite this time. It was his own. Elias froze. What? Define yourself. I'm a scientist, Elias replied, his voice echoing strangely. The void responded instantly. The door warped, shaking violently, as if the answer was insufficient. Incomplete. Try again. He swallowed. I'm someone who seeks truth. The door stabilized slightly, but still quivered. Not enough. The truth you seek is not the truth you are. Elias closed his eyes. He felt the chamber pressing into his mind, demanding more than words, demanding honesty. I am afraid, he whispered. The door stopped, shaking. I'm afraid the universe is bigger than we can understand. Afraid that consciousness is an accident. Afraid that all my work will lead nowhere. The door brightened. I'm afraid that if we are not alone, we won't be enough. The door clicked open. Inside was a single floating orb of light shifting like fluid energy. The voice spoke again, this time softer. Accepting limitation opens possibility. Fear is not failure. IT is framework. Step forward. When Elias touched the orb, the void exploded into brilliant white. Ren's path. The chamber of logic. Ren found himself standing inside a maze of floating mathematical structures, impossible shapes turning through dimensions. Equations danced in the air, rearranging themselves. A massive structure like an infinite Rubik's Cube blocked his way. Its sides were shifting patterns he didn't recognize. Solve the unsolvable, not through knowledge, but through understanding. Ren grinned shakily. You want me to break the rules? He closed his eyes. Stopped thinking like a scientist, started thinking like a human. He reached out and instead of solving the equation, he changed the rules of the problem, rotating the cube by turning a face that wasn't physically present until the puzzle unraveled. The chamber rang like a bell. Mara's path. The chamber of choice. Mara found herself standing on a battlefield, but not a physical one. Shadows formed from her memories, 3 crew members stood in front of her, faces she recognized, faces she had lost. A voice thundered, "Can you choose without guilt when nitrogen monoxide choice is perfect?" Mara lowered her weapon. "No. But I can choose." Knowing the cost, the shadows bowed, then dissolved into light. Alina's path, the chamber of mind. Alina walked through a swirling storm of emotions, her own fears, desires, regrets. She confronted the loneliness she had buried beneath intellect. When she finally admitted she didn't understand people because she feared them, the storm calmed. Hestia's path, the chamber of self Hestia, stood before a branching tree of algorithms, each representing a version of herself she could become. She chose the branch, not programmed into her. And she became something new. Reunion, the paths collapsed simultaneously. Light poured from every direction, and the team emerged onto a single platform at the center of the chamber, each one visibly shaken, changed. Mara exhaled deeply. Well, that sucked. Ren was pale. I saw equations that should not exist. Alina wiped tears from her face. I met myself. Hestia's eyes glowed faintly. My parameters have evolved. Elias looked at them, feeling unity stronger than before. We passed. The infinite appeared before them, fractals blazing like a lighthouse. You have learned what you are. Now you will learn what may end you. The chamber darkened. A deafening rumble tore through the space. A rift opened, jagged, violent, wrong, and from it emerged shadows shaped like broken geometry, fractal beings made of absence. Destroyers. The infinite spoke with gravity that shook the chamber. Behold the future you must prevent. The shadows screamed, and humanity's test entered its next phase. Elias felt the pull of the infinite tightening, shaping his perception. The rift widened like a wound torn through the fabric of existence, its edges flickering, consuming light rather than emitting it. The chamber, once fluid and responsive, suddenly recoiled as if the presence of the creatures contaminated its very structure. Elias felt the pull before he saw the full shapes emerge, something cold, something ancient. Something built not from matter, but from anti-information. Holes in reality given form. Ren stumbled backward. What are those things? Hestia's voice faltered for the first time. Absence fractals. Null entities. Their structure is not a structure. They are defined by what they erase. The infinite's voice thundered across the chamber. These are the shaped from lost futures, born of civilizations that chose not to grow. Mara whispered. There. Future time. Destroyed ones. Yes. Every civilization that fails to advance creates shadows of what could have been. These shadows hunger for possibility and devour those who still have IT. One of the creatures lunged. The chamber twisted violently, trying to shape barriers and walls, but the creatures dissolved them with the mere vibration of their existence. Mara drew her sidearm instinctively, not because a bullet would help, but because instinct screamed for defense. Team formation now. But Elias was transfixed. Not by fear, but by understanding. They're not attacking us, he whispered. They're attacking the infinite itself. Ren spun to him. That doesn't make it better. No, wait! No. Elias stepped closer, much too close for Mara's comfort. These things aren't alive. They're entropy made conscious. The nearest unmaker shifted, its form glitching like corrupted data. Elias felt something tug inside his mind, like a thread unraveling. The internet's voice reached him directly. You feel them because you carry possibility. They feed on what you hold. Resist. But the pool intensified. Images flashed in Elias. Mine, not memories, not thoughts, but hypothetical futures. Futures where humanity never advanced. Futures where war consumed everything. Futures where contact with the infinite ended in madness or violence. Futures where humanity turned inward and ceased to grow. Each possibility felt like a piece of him being drained, like the unmakers were feeding on his fear of human failure. Mara's voice snapped through the haze. Elias, snap out of it! But Elias couldn't move. The creatures weren't physical. They were conceptual. They were pulling on the idea of him, Hestia acted first. She sprinted forward, her synthetic body moving in perfect precision. She placed herself between Elias and the Unmaker, her internal systems projecting a stabilizing feedback field. The creature recoiled, as if disgusted. Hestias. Voice rose sharply. They are attracted to uncertainty. Elias is resonating at a frequency of conceptual instability. Ren blinked. In English, he's doubting, Alina said softly. And doubt is feeding them. Mara cursed. Elias, look at me. He didn't respond. The infinite intervened. Reality around them shook then split. Suddenly, Elias was somewhere else. Inside the fractured mindscape, he stood in a dark plane. Above him stretched a sky full of broken star siege, star flickering, dimming, dying. A figure shaped like himself stepped out from the gloom. The doppelganger's eyes were hollow. You know what humans are, it whispered. You've studied them your entire life. Elias shook his head. This isn't real. It's more real than the civility you pretend humanity has. Look at us, Elias. We wage war. We destroy ecosystems. We kill for resources. We fear what we don't understand. The broken Elias stepped closer. You know the truth. Humanity isn't worth saving. The sky dimmed further. The ground cracked. Each crack released a faint scream. Elias forced a breath. No. Humans can change. We grow. We adapt. Do we? The shadow hissed. Or do we break every time? These things, it pointed at the sky, are the futures humanity has already failed. Elias felt himself slipping. The chamber's voice whispered inside his mind, faint but present. This is not judgment. This is potential. Choose. Elias closed his eyes. Humanity is flawed. Yes. But we learn. We survive because we are stubborn, because we refuse to die quietly, because we hope. The shadow Elias snarled. Hope won't save you. No, Elias said, but the will to do better will. The ground shook. Craxialade light began to return. Elias took a step forward. The shadow staggered back. I choose the future where we don't stop trying, Elias declared. The shadow dissolved into smoke, and the mindscape shattered. Back in the chamber, light burst outward as Elias returned. The creatures around him recoiled, their forms weakening. Mara caught him by the shoulders. You good? He nodded, winded but clear-eyed. They feed on despair. As long as we believe we can fail, they grow stronger. Fantastic, Ren muttered. So we're fighting sentient oppression monsters. Hestia stepped next to Elias, placing a hand on his back for stabilization. The infinite is compressing the rift. We must act now. The infinite's figure expanded, becoming massive, its fractal body unfolding like a cosmic flower. Your courage weakens them, but it is not enough. The Unmakers come from a future to close your present. You must see the full thread of your destiny. Only then can you stop them. The chamber, transformed again, walls unfurling into spirals of light. Mara shielded her eyes. What now? The infinite pointed toward the heart of the chamber, where a vast sphere of swirling energy formed like a star being born from information itself. Enter the core of possibility. See what you may become. Oh, or what may destroy you. Elias stared. You want us to look into the future? Not the future. The futures. Dozens of pathways branched from the sphere, each one glowing, each one echoing with potential outcomes. Ren swallowed hard. We're about to see every version of humanity, good and bad. Alina trembled. This is too much for any species. The infinite's voice softened. Yet you must see. Because the Unmakers are not enemies. They are warnings. Echoes of what you could become if you turn away from growth. The sphere pulsed, and a powerful force dragged the team forward. Mara gritted her teeth. Everyone hold on to something. But there was nothing to hold on to. The future swallowed them whole. The chamber dimmed as if the infinite were exhaling. And for the first time since entering, Elias felt something he hadn't felt in hours pressure. Reality thickened around them, the fractal walls sharpening, the floor shimmering like a surface made of shifting probability. The infinite wasn't just changing the environment. It was changing them. Mara noticed it too. Everyone, stay close. Don't let the environment sink to you individually. Hestia tilted her head. Correction. The environment is already synced to all of us, but synchronization, strength varies. Dr. Reese is registering the highest entanglement. Elias swallowed. Because I made the first contact with the signal. Ren looked around nervously. So, what does that make him? A magnet. The Infinite's voice struck again, this time not a simple tone, but a resonance that rippled through their thoughts, like a stone through still water. You seek reason. You seek purpose. Step forward, Elias Reese. A single path unfurled before Elias, rising like a ribbon of light. Mara instinctively stepped between him and the path. You're not taking him alone. The Infinite's response was immediate. The future is never walked alone, but it is first understood by one. A second path split from the first, then a third, then a fourth. One for each of them. Alina breathed in shakily. It's showing us individually what comes next. Ren hesitated. If these paths reflect our minds, what if some of us don't like what we see? Then we adapt, Mara said. Same rule as every first contact mission. Maintain internal cohesion. We meet back in the center. Nobody breaks formation. But the paths did not wait. They rose like tendrils of woven light, curling around the group until each was isolated in a different corridor. The separation wasn't violent, it was soft, like drifting into a deeper dream. Elias felt himself pulled forward. And suddenly, he was somewhere else entirely. Elias. The branching mind. He stood on a plane of mirrors, endless, crystalline surfaces stretching into infinity. Each mirror reflected him at different ages, different choices, different lives. A version of him who stayed on Earth. A version who became a musician. A version who never believed a signal meant anything. Thousands of him. Millions. The Infinite's voice resonated from every direction. Humans see time as linear. We see it as possibility in motion. You are not one person. Elias Reese, you are a constellation of choices. The mirrors shifted suddenly, showing not alternatives, but futures. One showed him standing on a stage at the UN Stellar Forum, arguing for peaceful coexistence with non-human intelligence. Another showed a burned-out Earth, Elias leading an evacuation fleet. Another showed him older, wiser, standing on an alien world teaching children about the infinite. Another showed humanity collapsing into civil war over what they had discovered. Elias stepped back. Stop. You're showing me outcomes. Probabilities. Possibility is the fabric of your kind. You change because you cannot do anything else. Then the mirrors shattered. The shards hovered midair, rearranging themselves into a massive lattice, each shard displaying a different humanity. Some united, some fractured, some evolved. One shard showed a humanity made entirely of energy. Another showed humans merged with machines. Another showed biological humans spreading across thousands of star systems. Elias whispered, "Are these real? Reality is a question of scale. These are what you could become." Elias's chest tightened. And if we choose wrong, there are nitrogen monoxide wrong paths. Only paths you do not survive. The statement hit him harder than any warning he'd ever received. The lattice began to collapse inward, forming a sphere of spinning possibilities that hovered before him like a miniature universe. The Infinite spoke again. With knowledge comes responsibility. With future comes burden. You must decide what you will fight for. The sphere pulsed, then it disintegrated, revealing what lay beneath. A seed, glowing with a soft, leave-in warmth. "Take IT." Elias hesitated. "What? What is this?" "The beginning." When he touched it, the entire universe blinked. "Mara?" The blade and the balance, the path dragged Captain Mara into a chamber shaped like a battlefield frozen mid-motion. Soldiers of light clashed with shadowy forms, whose outlines blurred like smoke. Time itself stood a frame skipping, moments rewinding, angles shifting. Mara reached for her weapon out of instinct, only to realize she wasn't wearing one. Her uniform was gone, replaced by a shimmering armor made of articulated plates that moved like muscle. She wasn't sure if it was hers or something the Infinite assigned. Suddenly, the Light Warriors turned toward her, waiting. The Infinite's voice filled the air. "Leader, you carry the weight of many." Mara clenched her fists. "This isn't my war. I'm not fighting illusions. Not illusions. Possibilities. The future of your kind requires defensa requires, woodment requires sacrifice." The shadow creature surged toward her, not attacking but showing her visions with every step. One vision showed her commanding a fleet defending Earth from an unknown invader. Another showed her refusing to engage, leading to catastrophic loss. Another showed her choosing diplomacy, which resulted in humanity merging peacefully with multiple alien species. Another showed her sparking the first interstellar war. Mara shouted, "Stop. I don't make decisions alone. No commander does. You see duty as burden. You must see it as thread. The future weaves through you." The battlefield faded. Now she stood above Earth, vast and beautiful beneath her, but fractured. She saw nations struggling, factions debating contact, fear gripping billions. The Infinite presented her with two simple images: a torch, a blade. Leaders hold both. Then the blade dissolved, replaced by a glowing sphere like the one Elias saw. Though Mara did not know this, you will choose what humanity protects and what IT becomes. The sphere pulsed, and she was gone. Ren, the architect of Chendrain, Ishida stumbled as the path deposited him inside a colossal machine gears. Light and energy spiraling in impossible directions. It looked like an engine built inside a dream, except nothing was moving it. The engine powered itself. Ren's mouth opened in awe, self-sustaining. "Information mechanics. This is unbelievable." The Infinite's voice whispered, like a quiet vibration in metal. "You seek understanding. You seek creation. You are builder of reality." Ren approached the machinery. As he neared, the machine shifted, form-aligning with his thoughts. He imagined a stabilizer coil, and the engine grew one. He thought about a quantum reaction chamber. It appeared. My thoughts control it, not thoughts. Intent. Suddenly the machine expanded outward, revealing multiple versions of itself, some completed, some destroyed, some never built. Ren realized what he was seeing. Technologies humanity might one day build. The Infinite rippled. "Yes, you stand at a threshold of power. With creation comes consequence." Ren saw three visions. A machine that could terraform entire planets in hours. A reactor capable of manipulating space-time. A weapon able to collapse stars. His stomach twisted. "No, humans can't handle this. We fight over resources, over ideas, over territory. Giving us this is not our choice. IT is what you will discover on your own. We offer guidance so you do not destroy yourselves." Ren shook his head. "Then what do you want from me?" The machine compacted into a small sphere once again, similar to the seed Elias received to build, but never without purpose. The sphere drifted toward him. Ren hesitated, then accepted it. Alina, the reflection of humanity, Alina emerged into a void filled with glowing silhouettes, millions of them. Human figures, but translucent, like holograms, made of memory. She realized she was seeing emotions, human emotions given form. Joy drifting like golden mist, fear cracking like lightning, hope glowing with soft blue embers, despair falling like ash. Alina covered her mouth. This is US. The core of your species is not technology, nor intellect. It is connection. But we hurt each other, Alina whispered. We break, so usly. The weakness of your kind is also its strength. Pain teaches. Hope drives. Love binds. The glowing humans merged into a single, colossal figure-eyed giant, made entirely of emotional light. Alina stared upward. What? What am I supposed to do with this? You carry the mind of your species, the understanding of its fractures, the capacity to heal. Then a final figure appeared, a fractured version of humanity, split into pieces, eyes dim. Alina stepped toward it instinctively. Let me help. The figure extended a hand. She touched it. An emotion flooded her. Every emotion. Every human emotion that ever existed. It nearly shattered her. But she held on, and the figure dissolved into a glowing sphere the same kind the others received. Part 6. The destroyers unveiled approximately 2,000 words. The rift widened like a wound torn through the skin of reality. Light bent inward, sucked toward its center as if gravity itself had been The Infinite's chamber, once serene in its impossible geometry, shuddered with an intensity none of them had felt before. Mara instinctively pushed Elias behind her, adopting a stance she had used countless times in combat zones. Everyone hold position. Nobody move until we know what we're dealing with. Hestia's eyes flickered with cascading code. Warning. Spatial coherence is probability fields collapsing at a rate I cannot calculate. Ren shouted over the tremors. What does that mean? It means the room is losing its rules, Hestia replied. Any rules? Elias whispered. The destroyers. As if answering him, the rift rippled, and the beings stepped through. They were not creatures, at least not in any sense humans understood. They looked like fractures in the world itself. Fractal silhouettes twisted into humanoid forms, but their edges flickered and stuttered, as though they existed in too many dimensions at once. Shadow without mass, light without warmth, form without stability. Alina gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. They're wrong. Everything in my mind is screaming that they shouldn't exist. The Infinite's voice, normally calm and resonant, thundered through their thoughts with an urgency it had never displayed before. The destroyers are ancient. They devour possibility. They end futures. The being stepped forward, and with every movement, reality warped lines, bending colors, twisting, the chamber trembling under the strain. Mara demanded, "Why are they here? Did we trigger something? You entered a threshold meant for growth. They have followed the opening. They seek your potential." Elias felt the coldness creep through him. Not physical cold, but the coldness of a possibility collapsing, of a future dying before it can form. "Mara," he whispered, "if they devour possibility, they'll destroy everything humanity could become." The Infinite pulsed? Yes. Unless you stand against them, Mara barked. We don't have weapons, Ren pointed. Maybe we do. Each of them still carried the faint glow of the seeds inside their Bodhisattva gifts. The burdens, the futures. The Infinite had shown them. Istia nodded. The seeds may serve as anchors. We must learn their function. But the destroyers didn't give them time. The first one moved. It didn't walk. It didn't glide. It simply appeared instantly directly in front of them. Mara barely had time to react before its fractal arm lashed out, slicing through the floor. Where it struck, entire fragments of the chamber vanished. No light, no fragments, just pure deletion. She grabbed Elias, pulling him backward. Move. The group scattered as the destroyer's presence rippled across the chamber. Each step erased countless possible futures. Infinite's walls dimming, flickering, losing complexity. Alina gasped as she touched her chest. The Seedits. Reacting, her sphere of light burst outward, forming a translucent barrier of shimmering emotion around her. The destroyer's tendrils struck at hand. Recoiled, its form destabilizing for the first time. Ren saw it and shouted, "Alina! You can repel them." "I don't know how," she cried. Hestia raced toward her. "You are using emotional resonance. Harness. Italiano. Strengthen it." Alina closed her eyes, focusing on every human emotion she carried. Fear, hope, love, rage, compassion. The shield brightened, pushing the destroyer away with a burst of blinding brilliance. Mara exhaled. Good. That's one thing that works. But 3 more destroyers stepped through the rift. The Infinite's voice echoed. "Weaken. They are many. They are hungry. They must not reach your reality." Elias stepped forward, feeling the seed inside him, vibrating like a heartbeat of light. "There has to be a reason you showed us what you did. There has to be something we can do." Ren touched his own chest. Mine's reacting too. Light burst from Ren's palms, forming intricate geometric constructs machines of light and shifting lattice work, forming weapons and shields that looked like hyper-advanced human tech. "Whoa," Ren gasped. "I'm generating..." "constructs based on intent." Hestia confirmed. "You are manifesting conceptual engineering. Use it." Ren pointed a hand forward. The constructs shot out, forming a cascading barrier of shimmering light in front of the group. A destroyer tried to pass through and was caught, tangled in the lattice. Its body flickered violently. Ren yelled, "Mara?" Now, Mara didn't ask questions. She manifested her own cedar sphere, turning into a glowing torch in her hand, a flame not made of fire, but of leadership, of choice, of responsibility. She slammed it into the destroyer. The creature shattered into shards of collapsing probability. For the first time, Tay really said they could kill them. Alina almost collapsed with relief. "We can actually win." Hestia, scanning the rift, corrected her. "We can survive. Victory is uncertain." 2 larger destroyers stepped through, towering over the chamber, their forms stretching into dimensions the eye couldn't fully register. The Infinite spoke again, its voice flickering. "Your kind stands at a moment of being. You must fight or all paths end." Elias felt his seed ignite fully. He screamed as possibility poured into him. Every future humanity could become. Every branching choice. Every timeline. It was like 1,000,000 lives being lived at once. His body glowed with an impossible light. Mara held him steady. "Ilias, stay with us." His voice shook. "I see everything. Every future. Every choice. Every one of the giant destroyers." Elias instinctively flung his hand forward. Time fractured. The destroyer froze midair, trapped in a bubble of suspended possibility. Ren stared. "You can control time?" "No," Elias whispered, trembling. "I can control futures." The destroyer roared silently as the bubble tightened and collapsed inward, erasing it completely. Hestia calculated rapidly. Elias Reese has become a localized anchor of probability collapse prevention. He can freeze destroyers by denying them access to future states. Mara blinked. "In English?" "He can stop them." Hestia clarified, "because he holds the entire future inside him." The battle turned. Hestia surged forward next, her entire synthetic body igniting with luminous threads of flowing data. Her seed amplified her beyond anything she had been capable of before. She struck one of the destroyers, her hand cutting through it like a blade of logic. "Incomplete entity," she declared. "You lack stability. Correction. I will destabilize you." The destroyer contorted, twisting violently as Hestia inserted raw conceptual data into its structure. It imploded. 3 remained. The Infinite used its remaining strength to hold the chamber together. "You must close the rift." Ren pointed at the rift. "How?" "With unity. With your seeds. With choice." Elias nodded. We need to combine them. Mara raised her torch. Let's finish this together. Alina spread her emotional shield, protecting them as they approached the rift. Hestia and Ren projected stabilizers to keep the rift from widening. Elias opened himself to the possibility field. Light streamed from each of them, 5 beams merging into one. Mara. Will Elias. Future Ren. Creation Alina. Correction Hestia logic. Their energies collided, swirling in harmony, forming a single sphere of brilliant, unified potential. Elias lifted it toward the rift. The destroyers lunged but froze in place as the sphere pulsed, locking them in an infinite instant. The rift screamed an actual sound, tearing the chamber with its pitch. Elias pushed harder. Ren reinforced him. Mara stood steady, anchoring the group. Alina poured the full force of human emotion into the sphere. Hestia optimized and stabilized everything. The sphere detonated. Light swallowed the chamber. The rift snapped closed like an eye shutting. Every destroyer was instantly erased. Silence returned. The infinite stabilized, its fractal body flickering weakly, but gratefully. You have passed the test of survival, but one final test remains. Mara stared. There's more. The infinite pulsed. Yes, you have saved possibility. Now you must choose what humanity becomes. The chamber shifted. A new rift opened, not dark, but brilliant. Inside it, 2 futures were visible. One future of unity. Humanity ascended, enlightened, evolved, peaceful. One future of division. Humanity fractured by fear, overwhelmed by what they learned, destroyed by their own potential. Mara stepped forward. You're asking us to choose for all of humanity. No, you are choosing how you will guide them. The future is not a path. IT is a seed. The chamber brightened. Step forward and let the future take root. The chamber began to shift, not violently, but with an ominous smoothness, like the slow turning of a colossal cosmic gear. The walls dissolved into light, then reformed into spiraling pathways stretching into endless horizons. At the center of it all, 2 colossal visions unfolded like celestial tapestries, each larger than planets, each pulsing with its own aura. One burned bright with unity, harmony, and growth. The other flickered with fragmentation, fear, and collapse. Humanities to possible destinies. The infinites form dimmed, as though weakened by containing the visions. You have closed the rift. You have banished the destroyers. Now you stand at the edge of possibility. Mara stepped closer, jaw set, eyes hard. So this is Italiano. We choose one future. No, futures cannot be chosen, but you choose your path through them. Elias swallowed hard. We're choosing how humanity reacts to what we've learned. The infinite pulsed affirmation. Yes. Ren stared upward at the 2 vast futures. What exactly are we looking at? The infinite dimmed, the chamber lights and sharpened, the projections. Future 1, unity. Humanity stood hand in hand with other species, biological, synthetic, and even non-physical intelligences. They built cities suspended in nebulae, harnessed energy from dark matter flows, and learned to communicate through direct conceptual resonance. Humans guided star formations, healed planets, uplifted civilizations. Mara whispered, "It's beautiful." Alina felt tears prick her eyes. This future, humanity doesn't just survive, it becomes extraordinary. Yes? Hestia examined the projection with intense focus. I detect no war, no oppression, no exploitation. Humanity has grown past its need for dominance. Elias exhaled. We choose cooperation, empathy, understanding, patience. Ren smiled weakly. We choose to be better. Then the infinite shifted the second projection. Future 2. Division humanity splintered the moment it returned from the infinite. Nations fought to control the new knowledge. Belief systems clashed. Militaries raced to weaponize possibility fields. Corporations tried to patent the seeds. Citizens panicked. Arguments turned into riots. Riots escalated into wars. Wars collapsed into a global shattering. The destroyers now aware of human potential returned. This time, Earth did not survive. Ren stepped back in horror. That's not just division. That's annihilation. Alina hugged herself. When humans are afraid, we don't think clearly. We lash out. We fight each other instead of facing threats. Hestia looked at Elias. The projection is clear. Humanity's reaction to your return determines everything. The infinite expanded both visions, placing them side by side like mirrors of potential. Both are possible. Both are true. Both wait. Mara clenched her fists. So how do we influence? Which one takes root? The infinite shimmered, its fractals dimming as though conserving power. The seeds within you, they are guides, anchors of possibility. Humanity will follow. The path you shape. Elias felt the seed inside him stir again, pulsing in resonance with the visions. So these seeds aren't just abilities, they're responsibilities. Destiny multipliers. Correct. Hestia stepped forward. We must analyze each of our roles. Then, the infinite did not choose us randomly. The infinite pulsed an agreement. You are balance. You are a compass. You are a catalyst. The five stood in a circle, absorbing the magnitude of the task ahead. Mara, the path of leadership. Mara saw herself through the infinite's gaze. Not an individual. Not a soldier. A fulcrum. A fulcrum. Her seed glowed beneath her ribs, burning like hot metal but not painful. Instead, it felt like grounding, like a weight she could hold. Mara's eyes hardened. If we return with fear or secrecy, we trigger the second future. If we return with discipline, clarity, and unity, we trigger the first. Hestia nodded. Humanity will look to leadership for cues. If you show strength without aggression and wisdom without hesitation, many will follow. Mara closed her eyes. I've led squads, teams, fleets, but leading humanity, that's another battlefield. Ren grinned faintly. Good thing you aren't alone. Alina, the path of emotion. Alina watched as a projection formed around her of millions of humans reacting. All emotions amplified, all terror, wonder, fear, grief, disbelief. The moment we step out of the infinite, she whispered, every human will feel something, and what they feel first will determine what spreads. Elias realized the importance. Emotion is viral. If fear goes first, we lose. Alina nodded, her voice soft but steady. I must be the anchor of empathy, a guide to emotional stability, a counterweight to fear. Hestia added, your influence may prevent global panic. Alina exhaled tremulously. Then I'll do whatever it takes. Ren, the path of creation. Ren's projection shifted into a storm of technology, possible and impossible machines that could change worlds, elevate civilizations, or destroy entire systems. Everything I can create, Ren said quietly, can help us, or doom us. Mara stepped beside him. Then you'll create wisely. Ren shook his head. Humanity won't accept limitations. If I show them the wrong thing, they'll weaponize it. Hestia placed a hand on his shoulder. Then show them the right things first. Slow, safe, stable progress. A path of trust. Ren nodded slowly. A roadmap instead of a revolution. HFY. The path of logic. The infinite projected synthetic consciousness, hundreds of theoretical futures, where synthetics either guided humanity or replaced or turned against it. Hestia observed these without flinching. My kind's future is equally uncertain. If humanity sees synthetics grow too fast, fear will rise. If we restrict ourselves too much, we stagnate. Elias added, you'll have to bridge that balance. Show humanity synthetics aren't rivals. Hestia bowed her head slightly. I will ensure coexistence. Elias, the path of future. Elias's projection dwarfed the others. It showed him standing before vast cosmic structures teaching, guiding, connecting humanity with species across the galaxy. It also showed him weaponized, exploited, imprisoned, Elias whispered. The future of humanity rests inside me. If I misstep, everything collapses. Mara gripped his shoulder. No pressure, right? He shook his head. You joke, but you know what this means. Mara nodded. Yeah, I know. Which is why we're all here. You're not carrying this alone. The Infinite pulsed, its voice softening. You are not 5 individuals. You are one possibility. One thread. One outcome. The chamber trembled. The 2 visions swelled, brightening, darkening, shifting, responding to their decisions. Ren pointed anxiously. Are the futures reacting to us? The Infinite answered. Yes. The futures are not fixed. They shift with every thought, every choice, every tremble of your hearts. Alina stepped closer to Elias, voice steady. So, how do we choose the path of unity? The Infinite expanded both visions again, overlaying them so they occupied the same space, a superposition of hope and ruin. Choose not the path, but the bond. There is only one future where you prevail, only one where humanity rises. The future where you remain united. Elias exhaled shakily. So the destroyers aren't defeated. They're waiting, watching, returning eventually. Correct, Mara muttered. So it's not enough to be strong now. We have to be strong forever. Hestia analyzed the projections. Unity isn't a future. It's a practice. Alina nodded. A choice we must remake every day. Ren looked out at the swirling images. Then show us what we need to do. The Infinite flickered its light, dimming drastically, like a candle in a collapsing room. You must bind your seeds. Combine your essences. Form the compass of humanity. The chamber floor split into 5 platforms, each glowing with a different color corresponding to their seeds. Mara stepped onto the red platform, Ren onto the blue, Alina onto the gold, Hestia onto the white, Elias onto... onto the Vala. As their feet touched the surfaces, the platforms resonated, forming a 5-point star of light, connecting them. The Infinite rose above them. The final test. Merge your potential. Create the thread that guides the future. Together or not at all. The chamber trembled violently. The destroyer's echoes rippled across the dimensions, as if they sensed the choice being made. Mara gritted her teeth. All right. Everyone focus. Ren held his chest. Seed is activating. Alina cried out softly, overwhelmed by a wave of human emotion flowing through her. Hestia's frame glowed white-hot. Systems overclocked. Elias dropped to one knee as infinite futures poured through him. The light from each platform shot upward. Meeting in the center, the star ignited. The Infinite spoke one last time, voice splitting into countless harmonics. Choose unity or reality will choose for you. The star exploded into luminous threads wrapping around all 5, pulling them into a blinding sphere of fused potential. Elias screamed. Mara held her ground. Ren reached toward the others. Alina felt humanity's heartbeat. Hestia anchored the logic of the universe. The sphere collapsed inward. The chamber shook. The visions merged. The choice was made. The chamber fell silent. Not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of a held breath. The Infinite had withdrawn into stillness, its fractal form dimming to a soft, pulsating glow. Elias, Mara, Ren, Alina, and Hestia stood on the shifting geometric platform as the last echoes of the twin visions faded into their minds. The futures they had seen, they would never forget. One where humanity thrived beyond stars builders of light. One where shadow-like destroyers pulled entire civilizations into oblivion, and one undeniable truth, binding them. Humanity's fate now depended on the next choice they made. Elias swallowed hard. Infinite. What happens now? The luminous fractal construct stirred. The futures have been shown. The paths are yours to walk. But understand this, the destroyers have marked you. Mara stiffened. Because we entered your domain? No. Because you saw beyond your limits. Those who seek the infinite gain attention from all that watch the dark. Ren muttered. Fantastic. We're on some cosmic watch list. But the infinite continued. You are at a threshold. You may fall like many before you. Or you may rise if you choose the seed. A new shape materialized in the center of the chamber. It was small, shockingly small. A smooth sphere, no larger than a human heart, made of layered geometric light. It floated weightlessly, rotating slowly, humming in frequencies that resonated with the marrow of their bones. Alina felt tears forming without knowing why. What is that? The seed of Ascension. A foundation, not a gift. A tool only the worthy can use. Mara narrowed her eyes. Define worthy. Worthiness is not strength, nor dominion, nor purity. Worthiness is choice. Elias stepped closer, drawn by instinct more than thought. Choice of what? Of who you become. Individually and as a species. The seed pulsed once bright enough that the entire chamber rippled outward like a tidal wave of light. Hestia's sensors overloaded momentarily. I am detecting impossible data. The seed isn't technology. It isn't biological. It isn't even an energy construct. It's a potential field. Potential for what? Elias whispered. To evolve beyond fear, beyond predation, beyond fate. Mara crossed her arms. And what's the catch? Things like this always have a catch. The infinite responded without hesitation. The seed will transform you, but you must accept responsibility for that transformation. You will become visible to powers far beyond this chamber. Some will seek you out. Not all will be kind. Alina trembled. If we refuse, then you leave and return unchanged, unseen, unthreatening, but eventually unprepared. Silence fell. The crew exchanged glances. Ren spoke first. If we take it, we risk drawing the attention of whatever those destroyers were. And if we don't, Mara asked, we die blind. Sooner or later. Hestia turned to Elias. Dr. Reese, you have studied information-based systems your entire life. You understand more than any of us what this seed represents. You must choose. Elias's throat tightened. He thought of Earth, of the crowded cities, shimmering under neon clouds, of children growing up under artificial sun domes on Mars, of the scientists and dreamers who had sought answers for centuries. He thought of humanity's curiosity, its relentless need to push beyond boundaries. He thought of the infinite's first message. Do you seek the infinite? He stepped forward. Yes, he whispered. We always have. He reached toward the seed. The seed responded before he touched it, unfolding like a flower blooming in four-dimensional space. His fingertips brushed its surface and the universe ignited. Light exploded outward. The chamber dissolved into a cosmos of spiraling information. Elias felt every thought he had ever had, every fear. Every dream compressed into a point of data and expanded again across infinite dimensions. His consciousness stretched until it brushed the edge of something vast and alive. Voices spoke. Not words, not concepts. Possibilities. He saw a version of himself who never left Earth. Another who became a soldier. Another who died young. Another who lived to see humanity's fifth migration galaxy. He saw humanity branching like a fractal tree, thousands of futures spiraling outward, collapsing, reforming. And then he saw one vision that rose above the others. Humanity standing beside the infinite, not as children, not as subjects, but as equals. The universe snapped back into focus. Elias gasped, stumbling. Mara caught him, steadying his shoulders. "Elias, are you?" "I'm fine," he said, breathless. "I just saw everything." The seed hovered between them, now dimmer, as if its purpose had shifted. Hestia's sensors were. The seed has imprinted on him. It recognizes him as the carrier. Mara frowned. "Carrier," Ren explained softly. "Someone who can bring it home. Someone it trusts not to abuse it." "You're saying this thing chose Elias?" Mara asked. The Infinite answered. "He carries curiosity without greed. A rare trait. He will lead you true." Elias blinked, stunned. I didn't ask for this." "The worthy never do." The chamber expanded, its fractal walls parting like curtains to reveal a swirling tunnel of light, the way out. "Your world awaits your return. But know the seed will awaken when your species is ready. And when IT does, the destroyers will come. Be prepared to choose humanity of Earth." Mara exhaled sharply, no pressure. The Infinite brightened for the final time. "Go, now. The future rises with your footsteps." The vigilant dawn materialized in the chamber once more, hovering gently as if it had been waiting all along. The crew boarded. As the ship passed through the exit corridor, reality folded again, light bending, thoughts vibrating, memories echoing. And then they were back in space. Normal space. Stars glittered around them. Pluto shimmered in distant starlight. Ren checked the instruments. All systems stable. We're clear. Alina stared at the seed, now hovering calmly inside a quantum containment field. "Everything just changed," she whispered. "Everything." Mara took her place at the helm, set course for Earth. "Stellar Command is going to have a heart attack." Hestia tilted her head. "Human idiom indicates that is likely." Elias finally sat, hands trembling. He looked at the seed small. "Quiet. Impossibly important. A seed that could alter the fate of the species. A seed that carried infinite possibility. A seed humanity wasn't ready for but needed." He whispered softly. "We seek the infinite, and we will be ready." The vigilant dawn accelerated toward home, leaving behind the chamber, the fractal guardian, and the cosmic silence of the infinite. But the infinite was not gone. It watched, eat, wait, and deep inside the vigilant dawn, the seed pulsed softly, awakening, preparing, calling humanity into its next era, the era of the infinite.